You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 112, Why You're Not Over Your Ex 2.0. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, Breakup Coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, my beautiful brave hearts. How are all of you doing? You guys, we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of this podcast. Can you believe it? I cannot. It's so crazy to me. I remember starting this podcast, you guys. I searched and I searched and I searched on a podcast to find out how to get over my ex, and I could not find it. So here we are. We created it. It's here. It's done. We know exactly how to get over our exes. It's amazing. Okay. Now, the first episode of this podcast was called Why You're Not Over Your Ex. Why You're Not Over Him. And I'm titling this one, Why You're Not Over Your Ex 2.0. And I talk about, on that episode, I talk about the stories that you have about your breakup and about yourself and what you're making the breakup mean and all of that, right? What you've made the breakup mean about you and your life, and that how that holds you back from getting over your ex, and how changing your thoughts and your thinking, aka your mindset, changes the game. It gets you over your ex and helps you build a life bigger and better than the one that you had with your ex. Now, I want to talk to you about the deeper level here, the 2.0 version of this that has been formed and is talked about inside the Get Over Your Ex program, but not as much here on the podcast. P.S. Enrollment for the next round of the Get Over Your Ex program opens this week on Thursday, September 23rd. So if you're listening to this real time, you're going to want to put that in your calendar because it typically fills up on day 1. So September 23rd, it will open. So make sure that you put that in your calendar and you refresh your page and get into that program, because that program will get over their ex before the new year, which is such a beautiful way to end your year. Now, let's get started on this topic. I'm going to do a brief recap here, okay? We are not over our ex because of time. Time has nothing to do with getting over your ex. Am I right? Do I need to say it again? Do I need to say it louder for the people in the back? Time does not dictate healing. That doesn't mean we need to rush through our healing or there's any urgency to get over your ex. We don't need to do it in record speed or anything like that. But time is passive and you are an active force within that time. Time will pass and you will either get over your ex or you will not. Time has nothing to do with it. We oftentimes give our results the credit of time. We like to say, oh, I built my business, but it just took time. When in reality, it didn't, because there's someone who built a business, the same business you have, in a month instead of a year, or in a year instead of 5 years, right? And we oftentimes live more life throughout the amount of time that we live. And so then we can look back at things and say, oh, that's why that happened. Instead of just saying everything's happening for me instead of to me now, right? Which is what I teach all of you to do on the podcast here. We also know that the problem isn't what your ex did or didn't do or said or didn't say. We oftentimes want to blame our heartbreak and blame our breakup and our feelings around our breakup on the other person. But it's our thoughts that create how we feel. When I feel loved in my relationship right now, it's not because my partner says that he loves me. It's because of the thoughts that I think, the interpretation that I have of those words from that person, because he could go to you guys and say the same words and you guys might feel and think a little bit differently. You'd be like, who is this person saying that they love me? You might feel, eek, what's happening, right? So it's not about what the other person did or didn't do or said or didn't say. It's also not about staying busy enough or distracting yourself enough, right? Remember, it's like that beach ball. We can distract ourselves silly, and I did that. But the only reason I was distracting myself was because I didn't want to feel shitty. And I felt shitty when I thought the thoughts that I was having. I was thinking that I'm going to be alone forever. My world is over. All of the thoughts were creating so much pain for me and holding me back from getting over my ex. So the fact is, it has nothing to do with time. It has nothing to do with the other person. It has nothing to do with staying busy or distracting ourselves. And those are the things that we are taught on the Googles oftentimes. And I'm here to tell you, none of that has anything to do with it. And what the root cause is, right, as we've learned, is the story that you're telling yourself about the breakup. But when we take this a little bit deeper, it has to do with desire. It's the fact that we still desire our ex. We have an attachment to that person, a desire for him, an attachment to him. Now, what's fascinating is desire is created through our thinking. Same thing with attraction. We think that desire just happens to us, or we just happen to be attracted to this person, but not that person. When in reality, it's our thinking. Ice cream used to be very desirable for me. It was a very attractive thing to me. I had attractive thoughts about the ice cream. I said, ice cream's amazing. It just melts in my mouth perfectly. It's got ooey gooey caramely chunks. It's got chocolate chunks. It's got cookie dough. It's delicious. It melts in my mouth just perfectly. And when I tell you that story about ice cream, it seems very desirable. But when I tell you that ice cream is simply milk and sugar, not as desirable, right? Just as with attraction, an example that was used in the Get Over Your Ex program that was so good was when my ex, I'm not attracted to my ex when he's naked because he looks like a dolphin. Not as attractive, right? The thoughts that we have about that person aren't making us feel attraction or aren't making us feel desired or desirable towards them. So desire is super fascinating because we genuinely think that it's created outside of ourselves when in reality, it's all our thinking. And what's great is this is a skill you already have and have already used. You just might not have used it intentionally. Think about ex-boyfriends from the past, like not this specific ex-boyfriend, but maybe an ex-boyfriend from high school, a best friend that you're no longer best friends with, a food that you used to love that you no longer care for, a flavor of ice cream that you used to love that you no longer care for. It's your thoughts about that thing that has changed, that has reduced desire. And the beautiful part about that is when we change our thinking to reduce desire, it's really truly treating the root cause of the breakup instead of just the breakup symptoms. So when people come to me with problems of their breakup that they're trying to address, they're trying to address cracks in the frame instead of the foundation. They're saying, do I get back together with my ex? Do I stay with him? Do I, talk to him? Do I not talk to him? Do I block him? Do I not block him? Do I respond to his question? Do I not? Those are all symptoms of a breakup, not the root cause, right? Those are all cracks in the foundation that you're trying to put Band-Aids over instead of rehauling the entire foundation. And when we learn how to reduce desire through changing our thinking, not only are we building the skill of reducing desire, but we're also building the skill of intentionally thinking and believing things to create the person we want to become, aka creating a new foundation. And when we create a new foundation, my brave hearts, we create a new life for ourselves. And that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about building a bigger and better life than the one that you had with your ex. We're not going to build it by putting cute little shutters over a foundation of a home that's falling apart. We're redoing the foundation of the house, and then naturally beautiful looking shutters are going to appear on the house. Okay. So the question then becomes, how? How do we change our desire on purpose? Cool. I'm on board with you, Dorothy. I get that I can do this, that I've done this before, but how? You ready, you guys? This is going to change your life forever. So, when you get in the Get Over Your Ex program, you start by identifying what does it mean to be over your ex and how will you know you've arrived? Right? This is such an important question to ask yourself and answer because you could be 3 months down the road and you might not know if you're actually over your ex because you never defined this for yourself. Now, inside of the program, I give you some criteria, I give you examples, all of that. And so most people talk about desire and they say that, by the end of the program, I want to be over my ex. And for me, that means my desire for my ex is at a 3 or lower or a 5 or lower. It's at a 0. And that is up to you. And we talk about desire based on a scale. So when I said, a 3 or 0, I was talking about a scale. I introduced something called the desirability scale, and it's a scale from 0 to 10. So 0 means I have 0 desire left for my ex, and 10 meaning I have all of the desire for my ex. And so you rate that at the beginning of the program, the middle of the program, and the end of the program. And it's so very important for you to do that. And by the middle, sometimes people are completely over their ex. They have 0 desire left, or they're at like a 3 or lower. And then some are around between 5 and 7, and that's totally fine. But in that middle section is the section where we get to really start looking at, why do I desire my ex? Because the first 4 weeks are all designated for them to get comfortable feeling their feelings and allowing themselves to feel the heartbreak and the grief. And that is so important. We cannot skip that step. Because when it comes to reducing desire, we have to be able to learn how to feel the discomfort and not react to it. We have to be able to feel the discomfort of not giving ourselves what we desire so much so that we can then question it. And we question the beliefs that are creating the desire in the first place. And so an example of this is when I was trying to reduce my desire for ice cream, think about at the end of the day, I get done with my dinner, and when I'm used to having my ice cream, my brain's like, okay, it's ice cream time. And then all of a sudden I'm like, no, we're not going to have ice cream tonight. Remember, we're reducing the desire for the ice cream. Ice cream is simply sugar and milk. My brain doesn't just pick that up right away. It really has to sit there, and we've got to feel the discomfort of wanting the ice cream and not giving the brain the ice cream. And if you can get comfortable feeling that negative emotion, then you're not as quick to react to it. You're not as quick to just give into it. You allow yourself to be there with the discomfort and recognize, I'm not dying, everything's okay. And then I can start to question, do I really want the ice cream? What is it that I really want? Is the ice cream really that sugary and amazing and melts in my mouth perfectly? I'm able to have space to look at and question that. So the whole first 4 weeks, we're spending feeling feelings and getting comfortable with being able to do that. In weeks 5 and 6 are really building the relationship with ourselves, our lovability, our enoughness, our worthiness, and diving into confidence. Having the ability to feel confident in yourself throughout this process even. So by that point, it's such a really great time to look at why. Why do I desire my ex so much? I've gotten good with sitting with the discomfort, sitting with the feelings, but why do I desire my ex? So I want you to sit down and I want you to write out, why do I desire my ex? And what's going to happen is you're going to have a list of optional thoughts that are creating desire. And then we must question those beliefs, find the new ones that will reduce the desire. Okay, so I want to give you some examples here. So examples of thoughts that create desire for your ex. He's amazing. He's literally the most perfect human being. He does nothing wrong. He's assertive. He's manly and built the exact way I want. He's so attractive. He's bigger than life. All of those thoughts create a lot of desire. When I read them off, I'm like, who's that? I want to know him, right? super desirable. But those are all optional beliefs we're choosing to believe about a very specific person. And we're making all of those beliefs mean something even more. So we've got to question it. We've got to ask ourselves, is it possible I'm wrong? Is it possible that I'm wrong about him being bigger than life? And why? Just because he's this way, does it mean I can't have that with someone else? Just because he's so attractive and so assertive, does that mean I can't have that with someone else? What am I making this mean about me? What if that's not necessarily the truth? What am I making him being bigger than life mean about me? That my life isn't big and just as amazing? And what if that's not necessarily the truth? Why did we break up in the first place? Yes, he was assertive, he was amazing, he was attractive, but no, he didn't actually meet me emotionally. He wasn't all in with me, and I want a human being who's all in on me. And what are the alternative truths to the whole picture that help me reduce the desire? Instead of just looking at one specific thing, can we look at the bigger picture here? Can we step back and look at the bigger picture? And what are the alternative truths that go along with that whole picture? Now, when we're reducing desire, that doesn't necessarily mean we have to talk poorly about the other human or make him out to be a bad person. But what you're doing is you're making all of those, you have to check yourself and figure out, am I making these thoughts about him mean something about me and my life? And just because your thoughts might feel true or seem true, doesn't mean that they are. I want you to recognize that oftentimes when something feels very true to us, it's because we've told ourselves this so many times, it's become a hardcore belief. Just because you think he's so attractive doesn't mean everyone else does. What? And it doesn't mean you're required to believe them. It doesn't mean you're required to believe that he's bigger than life, even if everyone else agrees with you. Okay, so here are some thoughts that reduce desire based off of the thoughts that I listed off that were creating so much desire for my clients, okay? He wasn't everything I truly wanted. He seemed perfect, but wasn't perfect for me. He was assertive, but also controlling. Just because he was manly didn't mean he met me emotionally in the way that I desire. He was bigger than life, but not my life. I don't want to be with someone who doesn't value me or isn't committed to me. I don't want to be with someone who doesn't bring sunshine into my life every day. We were both now completely different people, and what I want does not align with who he was and what he is now. He really wasn't the person that I wanted to spend my entire life with. What? Those are thoughts that help you reduce desire and reduce attachment to that specific person. And I really want to make sure that I note that we are not reducing desire for things you actually want in your life. If you desire the life you had with your ex, you're learning to reduce the attachment to being with your ex through this process. Realizing it isn't about your ex. It isn't your ex that created that life in the first place. It was you and always has been you. You created the feelings in your last relationship and the results you had in your life while in that relationship. You attracted that kind of partner, which means you can attract that kind of partner again if that is the type of person you truly want. The results, and when I'm saying the results, the kind of lifestyle that you had or you thought you were going to have, that can all be created by you through your thinking. That is why it's so important and so life-changing to learn the skill of reducing desire. It is so huge. So if you're finding yourself still mulling over breakup symptoms, like breakup problems, really look at your desire for your ex. Have I truly reduced the desire I have for my ex? Why or why not? And use that desirability scale in the process of listing out the thoughts that are creating desire, questioning them, and then coming up with thoughts that reduce desire. And practice that skill Or better yet, get inside of the Get Over Your Ex program and learn this skill inside out and backwards, because it will change every aspect of your life. All right, my brave hearts, I love you so much. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will talk to you later. If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course, where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.